Welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor and her questionable hair. Whew, sorry, I just finished one of these book reviews and I'm kind of out of it. All right, wake up. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to follow, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. We are live on Periscope and YouTube. I have been live on Periscope every single day for over 3 years straight now. Every single day, over 1,000 days in a row. Shows no signs of stopping or having improved her ability to speak. Thank you so much to you guys over here, guys and gals, who make this channel possible by supporting at the link in the profile, nextjuice.com/support. I cannot say thank you enough for how much that means to me. It makes my entire dream and vision possible, so thank you so much. Today we are talking about The 5 Love Languages of Children by Gary Chapman and Ross Campbell, The Secret to Loving Children Effectively. So this is very important for parents, teachers, anyone who works with children, anyone who's interested in knowing how to love children. And even if you have children in your family, even if they're not your kids directly, if, aunts, nieces, nephews, cousins, if you got grandchildren, great-grandchildren, this is a pretty important concept. And it's really simple, so I can sum it up for you guys, but the book's only like $8 on eBay. The link's in my description and this YouTube video, so you can click it and buy it right there. Josh, first comment to the broadcast. Wim Hof breathing. He said, wait, it's not the same love languages as adults? It actually is. So they have the same 5 love languages as adults. And before I dive into this, obviously, I'm doing this as a live stream. I'm doing this in a discussion kind of format. So if you don't have the patience for that, you can get the you can get the summaries and reviews emailed to you completely for free at nextjuice.com. And I only email you 3 times a year. So you get 1 email from me every 4 months, and it's a summary and review of all the books I read over those 4 months. And I read a lot of books, and they're really interesting, and I like them, and you should sign up for that. Hi, Saul. Okay, so if you guys are not familiar with the 5 love languages in general, that was written just by Gary Chapman. I don't know, maybe Ross was part of it. But Gary Chapman's the main name associated with the concept of the 5 love languages. And if you don't have children or you're not interested in for children, that's fine. Just read the 5 love languages book. It's very similar and very, very beneficial for your relationships. So for those of you who don't know, the 5 love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gifts, giving and receiving gifts. So one more time, physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and giving and receiving gifts. These are the same 5 love languages for adults as they are for children. It's a little bit different in the workplace. So instead of love languages, it's the languages of appreciation in the workplace. I've read that one too. I think that one's a worthy read as well. But again, I love to read books. So if you don't want to read the books, just tell me what book you want me to read and I'll read it for you and tell you what it's about. Now, how do you figure out what a child's love language is? So for you, if you're an adult and you want to know what yours are, then you can go to 5lovelanguages.com and take the free test. It's the number 5, not F-I-V-E, it's the actual number, put the actual 5 key, lovelanguages.com. You can take the test there. Totally free, and I think it asks for your email so it can send you the results, but you can unsubscribe if they start emailing you stuff. I don't remember them doing that for me, but whatever. It's not a big risk. So once you know what your love languages are, that's the way that you best give and receive. It's the way that you express and feel love to and from the people in your life. So if you're in a marriage where you have different love languages, that's really important to know, because if your number 1 love language is gifts and your partner scores, 5th on gifts, that's like their least important love language, then they don't even realize that if they bought you gifts, you would feel more loved by them. It doesn't have to be pricey gifts. It's just the thoughtfulness behind it, right? That someone thought of you and put some of their hard-earned money into getting you a little something or a big something that just shows you how special you are to them. And if your partner's is quality time, or I'm sorry, if your partner, sure, let's say quality time and yours isn't, well, you might not realize that just by spending time, just by making time for date nights and giving them your full attention and putting the phone down can speak volumes to them and make them feel so loved, cherished, valued, appreciated. The list goes on and on. So it's going to save you a lot of time and energy trying to figure out how to make your partner happy and how to make sure that people feel love from you and understand that you love them when you do. Now with children, it's the same thing. You want to know the best way to express love to your children. Now adults and children are the same also in the fact that we all speak all 5 love languages. We want all of them, okay? But there are your primary and secondary, like your top 1 or 2 love languages that best speak love to you, and you'll be able to identify people's a lot of times in it's what they do the most. So if you have a kid who's always helping out around the house or always offering to help their brothers or sisters with things, their love language might be acts of service. Putting the phone down, yep. The troll languages: attention, ego, bullying, humor, and crankiness. Hi Jamie. Hi. Hey Superman. Hey DZ. My primary love language is physical touch, and my second is words of affirmation. So since we have a virtual relationship, words of affirmation would be the best way for you to express love to me by just basically saying nice things. My hair is very distracting to me today. Did I get rid of him? Who? Okay. So a great way to figure out what your child's love languages are, if your child's old enough, you can just have them take the 5 love languages test. So if you have like an adolescent child, you can probably just have them take that test and figure it out that way. For younger children, they have another book that's a children's book that's called A Perfect Pet for Peyton. Let me give a quick disclaimer here. This is the one thing about these books that I don't particularly love. I'm sure Josh will like it, but I don't like, is that they're very predominantly Christian. So they do write a lot about like God's love and not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a lot of Christian like undertones to this, and that's in the children's book as well. They mention like prayers and maybe even going to church or something, but it didn't really bother me, but just so you're kind of aware and prepared for that ahead of time so you don't feel misled. I don't particularly care for that, but I can also kind of just ignore it and move on. When I read the book to the kids, I don't even read that part, so it is what it is. So The Perfect Pet for Peyton is a book that it talks about a party, and it's Peyton's birthday party, and all Peyton's friends come, or a bunch of Peyton's friends come, and they go to an animal, I don't know what it's supposed to be, some kind of like animal experience store. It's where they're all going to buy these pets, and it's special because they can figure out the perfect pet for each person, and they talk about the way that these different kids behave and then what their perfect pet is and why. So for example, the girl who does a lot of words of affirmation, she gets there and she says, "Oh my gosh, happy birthday. I'm so glad you invited me to your party. You're so nice. I love being your friend. Oh, I love your shoes. Oh, what an amazing cake." Lots of nice words, right? And then her perfect pet ends up being a parrot who says nice things and kind of repeats the things that she says and uses words. You know, for animals, hard to find an animal that uses words of affirmation, but the parrot is a good use of that. And then the physical touch, it's like this really cuddly bunny, and the girl's carrying the bunny around with her all day, and she gives him big hugs. Oh, happy birthday, big hugs, and squeezes him, and she's very physically affectionate throughout the story. And her perfect pet is this cuddly bunny because it demonstrates her love language of physical touch. So it's a way to describe the love languages in a really concrete way for children and to expose them to the concept of the love languages. And then at the end of the book, there are questions where you ask them, do you like, really sitting really close to mommy and daddy or grandma, grandpa, whoever it is? Do you like sitting like really up close so that you're sitting right there and you're touching them? If the answer is yes, that's 1 point for physical touch. So you just figure out basically which of the 5 love languages do your children answer yes the most to. One of my stepsons was physical touch, and the other one was acts of service. Now what's interesting in my situation is that the boy who answered physical touch, really, he didn't answer physical touch, right? He just said yes to almost all of the physical touch questions. And that was really interesting to us because he doesn't seem to be very affectionate, but he loves to receive affection. So he, even with hugs, like he doesn't really hug you, but he likes to be hugged. So that was really something that I wouldn't have picked up on or known about without actually reading this book and doing that. And ever since then, so I'm his stepmom, and I've only really known him for a little over a year. And now I play with his hair, and I rub his back, and I rub his neck. And now he comes over and he sits with me we have 2 couches, and he almost always sits with his dad. And now he'll come over and he'll sit next to me, and he'll sit right up next to me because he knows I'm going to play with his hair and rub his back, and it feels good, and he likes that, and he feels loved. And I really feel like I've seen a big change in him since I started doing that. And I try to just encourage a lot of love and a lot of physical affection to him. And then his brother is acts of service. Now, this was pretty obvious, but I didn't pick up on it. He's always helping us. He helps us around the house. He helps his brother when his brother doesn't feel like doing stuff. He does a lot of acts of service. Now, when you have kids, a lot of times you try to teach your kid to be independent, to do things for themselves. So when they ask you to do something for them, it can be easy to be like, you know how to do that. You can do that for yourself. But you don't want to deny your child a chance to show them love and appreciation and value and care. So now when he says, oh, can you get me, I'll be like, well, you can get yourself a glass of milk. And now if he says, well, can you get it for me? I'll be like, yeah, I'll get it for you because I love you so much. Because I'm using it as a chance where he knows that I'm doing it because I love him, not because I don't think he's capable of doing it or because I'm always going to do it every time and make him be dependent on me to drink milk. He's gonna need to know how to do stuff on his own. But I try to take these opportunities. Oh, you left your blanket downstairs. Okay, I'll go down and I'll get it for you because I love you. Doing these acts of service, it's really important because for me, acts of service is my 3rd love language. It's not really that important to me. It's not something I do instinctively or naturally. So I have to consciously think, okay, yes, any chance I get to do something for him is a chance that I can show him that I love and care about him. And that's really important to do, And obviously you still want to speak all 5 to your partner, to your family, to your children, everybody, but pick up on these primary love languages for people and put special effort into them, and I bet you'll be really surprised at how your relationships might change. I tested this other technique you can use that was talked about in this book, which is where you ask the child, how do you know that I love you? I tested this on my niece. I read this while I was in upstate New York with my family from where I used to live, and I asked my niece, how do you know? Or I think I said, I love you, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, how do you know that I love you? And she said, because you play with me, and that's quality time. So because I spend time with her and I give her attention and affection in that way, through my time, she knows that I love her. Through quality time. So it's interesting how every kid can be different. And oftentimes our love languages can be a sign of something we feel like we're not getting. So it might not be your love language all the time, but I find that once your love tank is pretty full, you pretty much figure out what those love languages really are. And for me, they've stayed consistent over time, no matter how many times I take the test. And another one for quality time with children is a lot of eye contact, and probably for adults as well. Give them a lot of eye contact. Let them know you're listening, you're giving them attention. I do this with the boys, and they just love it. They just love that I'm always looking at them. They'll kind of look away, and then I see them look back. She's still looking at me, and not because they're doing something mischievous. It's a little bit different, right? And they'll look at me, and they'll kind of make little happy sounds, and it's easier than maybe you might think, Not the place to debate religion. Maybe someday. Gotta find a book for that to review. Okay. Hey, Furchie, how are you? Who am I talking about? I don't know. I've talked about my niece, my stepsons so far, if that's what you mean. Thank you for sharing on Facebook and Twitter, Michael. And retweeting. My inner child's love language. I guess. We all need love, adults and children alike, right? I shouldn't have brushed my hair. Regardless, nobody cares about that. I think that was it. A perfect pet for Peyton and asking your child, how do you know that I love you? Yeah, that was pretty much everything I had to say about this book, too. For those of you, Saul and Rhodey, for those of you watching on Periscope, is the signal okay, or is it dropping out or something? 5 Love Languages for Relationships. Yep, that's the original book. So this is a spin-off. So they have 5 Love Languages for Children. They have the 5 Love Languages. Wait, let me see if what you're talking about is something different. 5 Love Languages They have 5 love languages for singles, 5 love languages of teenagers. I haven't read those ones. But yeah, there's a bunch of spin-offs. Looks okay to you? Okay, just curious. Real quality people. All right. I read that one, and oh my god, I see the world in a different way. Yes, positive moments. I love your username, too. Absolutely. I do, too. And I've definitely found, so my last relationship, I was with that guy for 7 years, and we had almost identical love languages. And the guy I'm with now, we have identical love languages. It makes it a lot easier when you have the same love language because it comes instinctually to you. So because me and my boyfriend both have physical touch as our primary love language, we have no problem every time we walk by each other, a little touch, a little kiss. We snuggle at night. You know, we love to cuddle and snuggle and be touched and held and squeezed. And, you know, we like all that stuff. Some people don't. And if we were in a relationship with someone that didn't like that, it would be hard for us to hold that back. And it would be hard for us to feel loved if they didn't give that to us. So they liken it to like a fuel tank. So if you're not receiving love in a way that actually you understand, you think of it, that's why they call it a language. Because if someone's speaking to you in Russian and you don't speak Russian, you don't know what they're saying. The message isn't getting through. So if someone's speaking or trying to give you love in a language you don't understand, you're not going to be receiving the love. So it's going to be like they're just squirting the fuel out onto the ground rather than into your tank. If they can communicate it to you in a way that you understand and are fluent in, it's going to fill that love tank. So that's what we want to do. We want to fill the love tanks of our children, of our partners, of ourselves, and by knowing your own love language is really a great place to start, and then to figure out the love languages of the people in your life is another great next step. And if you are a parent, I'm going to be reading a lot of parenting books probably this year. Right now I'm reading a book called Positive Discipline by Jane Nelson, which is about the use of positive discipline in parenting. I read this one. A book that I read previously was The Self-Driven Child. I loved that book, so check out my review on that one. You can get that book too if you like. Like I said, this book's only $8, so if you want this one, the link to buy it is in my YouTube video description. So I'm live on YouTube right now as well as Periscope. Go check that out. And please subscribe, follow, share, like, support. That's the most important thing, is nextjuice.com/support. You can help me to keep this channel going, or through sending super hearts. Thanks. Thanks for the love, the support. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments. And I hope to see you guys on the next juice. Let's see how long this broadcast went. 18 minutes. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's see. 18 minutes. All right. Well, then I guess we have time for one more book review. So I'm going to do another book review right after this. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you over there. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. I hope to see you in just a few minutes. Bibliophiles, my fellow book lovers. See you soon. Oops, I'm clicking the wrong button. Okay, this one. Yeah, 3 book reviews in an hour. I'm not getting tons of comments, so easier to do it this way. Oh, hang on. Okay. Your belt does all the talking? What does that mean? Okay, bye.